Holy shit.
This is a topic
Where did that come out of?
This is a topic that I've pondered for a while, and it's becoming more and more prevalent.
I feel like we need to be recording this bit.
Are we not? We're going to talk about the growth in print magazines, specifically around supermarkets. Anyone that's been to Aldi, Lidl, will have picked one of those magazines up and will have perused them, especially around Christmas time when you want to see what meats are coming in. What
That is the only magazine. Yeah, that is the only magazine that is currently in my house as we speak. Is the Aldi Christmas one? You've just made me think of that.
Yep.
The growth.
Yep. I've seen them across, and it's becoming more and more prevalent, and it's getting investment, like editorial teams and proper like art directors and
Year round.
Yeah. So Ocado is another one that
no experience of them, but
they chuck one in, and theirs is actually really good.
Mm.
When you pick it up, as recipes in it, obviously, and it's all about product, but it's actually quite engaging.
Experience. There's got to be something around experience and feel, like would you say emotion? Would you say quite as far as that, or just experience and feeling?
So you think about Aldi. Let's use Aldi and Lidl and their marketing strategy and their brand building activities. They're trying to build loyalty completely differently to a Tesco, for example. It was price-led when they entered the market. They got audience via being cheaper.
Yeah.
But now they've got audience who they are turning into loyalists by doing things like the print, releasing jumpers, releasing flip-flops.
Merch.
But people are advocates for it.
Yeah.
It's genius.
Yeah. Yeah, it became a lot. Do you remember when the price-led stuff was, so they were obviously in their infancy in the UK? Do I remember correctly? Do you sort of remember this as well, that the early adopters that would say they were going to Aldi, Lidl or whatever wouldn't quite be proud to say it now? And I think you've just nailed it there.
It's pivoted, definitely, and it's brand.
Yeah.
And you look at what the response was from a Tesco. They then started price matching against it and publicly marketing that they were price matching against it.
Yeah.
Because they thought that that's all Aldi had over them.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I think people are like diehard Aldi people.
Yeah. Well, I won't. Yeah. Maybe I'd categorize myself as that as well. But you're like thinking about it. The trajectory and the path that they went on is definitely it's resonating for me. Like I said, the early adopters that were just going price, and obviously it was appealing en masse enough there. I do remember the early days of Aldi where there wasn't any brand like association or power equity in it when you were literally doing it. You were using them transactionally, whereas now, I don't know. Even like they're on the Christmas ad release list, aren't they? You know, everyone talks about the John Lewis one.
Totally.
No longer. As in, obviously everyone still talks about John Lewis, but there's anticipation now for like the next round of Aldi ones, isn't there?
Yep.
And they've built a brand narrative into the evolution of year on year of the Christmas ads release.
I mean, look at their approach to social as well.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
What?
Their approach to socials, because they get thrown in the mix, don't they, with Ryanair?
I think it's exactly how social media should be used.
Do you think any of them, I don't want to say cross the line, with these sorts of approaches and like tone of voice that is like your mate in a way in the pub might talk? Do you think How well do you think their socials have done to contribute to what you said about
It's all
brand?
part of the plan. Whoever's behind it is genius. And it is, in my opinion, an example of how social should be used. It humanizes a brand, and you don't go to social to read about how carbon neutral a supermarket is. You go to social to see what your mate's doing, and Aldi have understood that, put content out that fits, that's native to each platform that they operate on, and it's worked.
Yeah. I mean, when you said whoever's behind all that, there's obviously an overarching brand and brand comms.
Do you know what else they've done? They've infiltrated the generation that are going to keep them growing. Whereas a Tesco and a Sainsbury's have got an older demographic.
Yeah.
So what will happen is,
that's a good point.
Tesco and Sainsbury's will continue to decline because they're losing audience, because the audiences that are coming up that are then going to buy the people that Aldi are talking to. It's like, I bet if you surveyed 1,000 16-year-olds and asked them to tell you which supermarket they had they heard about the most, or the most affinity to.
Yeah, it's interesting. That.
I bet Aldi would be up there.
Must have been targeted. It's just a choice.
It's a thoughtful approach, isn't it? And it's a long-term approach. It's not a transactional approach to marketing, which is what it should be.
What do you think about the print stuff specifically then?
I think in the age of technology and AI, we can't get through a conversation without talking about AI, means that in the next 18 months, we're going to see a resurgence in in-person events. We're going to see people seeking out experiences. People are going to subconsciously want to be made to feel a certain way. And I think print does that, which is why you're seeing it come back, which is why you're seeing things like vinyls come back to the fold and be absolutely the most prevalent they've been in decades, because it's something that you can touch and feel, and it's got a personal element to it. Whereas content that's created at scale via tech, it's difficult to achieve the same feeling through something like that.
But surely we're going to see advancements there somehow.
100%. And ChatGPT have just released Sora, haven't they, in the US, which is the video model. But it's fine. But you need to continue to use it to improve efficiency and not lose the craft. This craft needs to still remain at the end of the process.
And do you think the craft, that split, or that coming together of like the craft plus obviously efficiency through things like AI, do you think the craft side of that combination is where you can really make some inroads on brand, and will continue to 100%. Make some inroads on brand?
100%. And you think about like Google, how is Google going to differentiate and approach it? They're going to reward stuff that's done well and craft and expertise.
The sort of, it's not a segue. Well, it is a segue, but when we were talking about, particularly we focused on Aldi there. What's your opinion of the Lidl brand? Because I feel like, I know I was talking about going back in time a little bit when Aldi was in its sort of infancy in the UK, for example, and it was that price-led stuff, and they got on people's radar quickly and efficiently. I sort of feel like there was an Aldi and Lidl conversation constantly around then, and what I would say is, personally, we've just focused on talking about Aldi with more prominence there. Do you feel like they have a more clearer brand than Lidl? Do you feel like they've gone?
Yeah, definitely. I think Aldi's strategy is completely different to Lidl's, though. I think Lidl's still very much price led.
Yeah,
I think but in the same breath, and this is just my personal opinion, I will say that the quality of food in Lidl is always good, especially around fresh stuff. And I think that they pride themselves on that and the quality of the produce, but also it's very, very price competitive. Even cheaper than Aldi, I would say, by
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah. But I would say Aldi's increased whilst their brand equity and followership has increased as well.
Yeah, and
I
Aldi's
think.
started to branch into things like they have specially selected, don't they? That's like
Yeah.
a premium range, which a
Yeah.
lot of the supermarkets do.
Which
But-
is still price competitive.
Yeah, it's
compared
price
to the
competitive, yeah. But it's driven by being capable of delivering ranges like that.
Yeah, because you know you've
got the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really clever, but that's an interesting brand journey that we've just talked through there for Aldi and Lidl, because I do remember the earlier years of people sort of putting them both together as the underdogs that are doing very well against the, what is it, the big four? Is it big four in
Tesco, Asda, Morrison's, and
Sainsbury's?
Sainsbury's.
I do remember them almost like being on level par.
Do you remember when Tesco launched Jack's?
I don't. Yes and no. I remember the brand. Is it? Why are we talking past tense here? Is it gone?
It's gone. Yeah, they folded it.
Oh, have they?
So that was their. I think that was their attempt at launching like a bargain brand, but they made it an independent thing.
Was it a supermarket?
I think so. Yeah.
Because you start sort of blurring the lines into the more functional shops like Home Bargains, B&M, and what's the other one? The Range. That they're like as I said, the sort of more functional, all-encompassing catalogues. Yeah. They're like the Aldis and Lidls that are the supermarket side of, but they're just thinking from a brand.
I would say that they're price led.
Yeah, well, yeah, they are.
And I don't know much about the marketing side of.
I don't think you'd have much affinity at that level because it's a little bit more functional, transactional, price led. But that's where I was going with the Lidl difference with Aldi. Can they ever strike brand affinity following like Aldi?
I think they potentially could, but they've gone down they've almost like followed mainstream, haven't they? Because they've launched the app with they've almost got like their own club card.
That's a loyalty thing, isn't it? Yeah. It's interesting. Do Lidl do a physical?
They do, yeah.
Wonder if they put as much into it as because I can only picture the Aldi one, and particularly the Christmas one, which obviously budget must ramp up for that.
Yeah, I mean it's got flavours of the Lidl brochure, the Aldi brochure.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, it's not too dissimilar.
Like Christmas ads for Lidl aren't. Although I feel like there was a little period, maybe 5 to 10 years ago, in that window where Lidl did try to bring in a little bit more of, I'm going to dumb it down here, but a little bit more humour and human. Do you remember? Am I remembering that correctly? Whereas Aldi have just proceeded. That's their brand sort of, I don't know what the word, blueprint.
Yeah, I think Aldi's legal team have been busier than Lidl's.
Yeah, the M&S stuff, pretty good.
I think they've led the way. I know we started on print and they've done a great job at print, and I think they'll continue to do that because I think that's the direction that society is taking in terms of a need for that experience. But I think you look at it from the place that they started versus where they are now, and then you look at brands that have taken that success and looked at it and thought, do you know what, that's how it should be done. And a recent example of a brand that I think has taken a pinch of Aldi is Currys. Their social strategy has pivoted a lot.
Yeah, and you're seeing that above the line as well.
Yeah.
I actually really like their above the line stuff. Have you seen the very latest round of
I think so,
people going into store and trying to swipe left and right? Are they calling it Gen Z or millennials position? In other words, there's a load of like kettles on a shelf and they're like swiping through them in real life.
Yeah.
Clever and funny.
Again, long-term thinking.
Yeah.
They're thinking about the audiences that are going to be purchasing in 5-10 years.
I actually have just said the word clever there, but when you're then, your words there, I'm actually thinking, I'm not saying it's not clever, but it's quite overt. They're literally taking that target demographic and taking the piss out of them, which will, you'd like to think, resonate en masse enough. So it is clever, but it's there staring you in the face.
It's culturally relevant, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how that demographic behave.
Back to supermarkets, I know we're flipping here, but do you think that it's too late for some of the originals, the big four, like you said about Tesco?
I don't think it's too late, but I think it would have to be done very well because it will feel artificial.
Yeah, like look, they're trying to.
And you know
replicate.
what? If Tesco came out and adopted that strategy, Aldi would absolutely fucking destroy them, wouldn't
It's
they?
a really interesting place that Aldi have got themselves in. I wonder, the more that you read, you see on the adverts, I think, for Aldi, it's like, which best supermarket year after year after year after year. It's clearly signalling the decline of the others. But I just wondered, in your opinion, has anyone ever turned it round really, really effectively from the brink, basically? I wonder if Curry's was Curry's struggling.
I think they had a wobble, didn't they?
Curry's part of PC. Remember PC World?
I don't know whether they bought. I don't know whether Curry's bought them, but they bought Dixon's, didn't they?
Yeah, and they were struggling. But then maybe Curry's sort of, to me, feel like they've got a relative monopoly in that. When you're immediately thinking, although there's the AO.coms out there.
Online though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Physical store wise, I think Curry's are probably the biggest because you can't go into an Argos and look.
No.
But you can buy.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that agency has played a big part in? Let's talk about Aldi again. The brand.
Yes, I think so, because an agency would have probably pushed the braveness.
Yeah.
And that side of it.
Yeah.
And I think they would have probably needed that nudge.
I wonder if that was met with maybe internal like leadership changes as well.
Could be. Well, it makes sense and it's worked, hasn't it?
Yeah. Because I think it's some of the big networks that work on the above the line stuff, which you'd expect. But I know that when you get to sort of the Aldi size and scale of brand campaigns, multi-format, multi-channel, multi-platform, I know that as we've worked on a few projects over the years, it's more of a networking net of agencies that do this, that, and the other between themselves. And I've always kept up to date with who's been in charge of some of their campaigns, and it just made me think. Then, you've got agencies who are now working with the brand, who know the brand for what it is today, and I guess where that brave level can be pushed. But it's back to when
the pioneers.
Yeah. I wonder if agencies have really pushed that, because I guess you'd like to think that's where value can really come to the surface with agencies, to be able to, obviously you can push and push as well, and it might not get the sign off, but you need someone in-house to be capable of making a bit of a leap of faith. But there's enough evidence.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about what you said there about brands having a resurgence, and this is going off on a tangent, but I'm going to loop it back and link it like a pro. Watch this. So Abercrombie and Fitch.
Fucking hell. They've been in the news, haven't they?
So,
well, he has.
Those guys had a real decline. I think they got rid of a lot of stores. And then they've seen the last half of this year a massive surge through social shopping.
Right.
TikTok shop. And the reason why I bring that up is I think, and this is a thought, that we're going to start seeing FMCG brands on social shopping,
selling direct
to consumer. So I reckon people like an Aldi, certainly around Christmas time. So you know when you see these posts where there's a famed product that Aldi do that comes in, it sells out immediately.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen with FMCG and social shopping over the next 18
Do you reckon?
months. Yeah.
I guess, are they infrastructured to fulfill that? I suppose. Yeah. Or at least they can,
I think so.
very quickly meet. It's interesting that they're not doing it yet.
Well, that will be the
First
reason.
movers.
It'll be infrastructure.
That's an interesting thought, yeah.
Because you imagine, like, I don't know what product it would be that sells out at Aldi.
Well, do you remember when there was halloumi fries? That was a thing.
Was it?
Yeah, halloumi fries, like, can't get them in Aldi. That were like 3 years, might be longer than that. Yeah, they launched them because they were the thing. Do you remember a bit of a halloumi fries? Not
I
revolution.
didn't know they were responsible for the whole thing.
I don't know if they were, but you couldn't get them. I remember my mum texting me saying you can't get them.
Really? It's going to be an interesting thing, and I think I'm thinking about like Coca-Cola with the names on the labels and stuff like that. And
yeah.
doing runs of products like that on social shopping. I think that's going to become quite prevalent.
Speaking of sort of on topic, if anyone's watching this, my jumper right now. Guinness this week. Have you seen the scarcity? The news that the volumes that they can't meet demand, and that there's going to be some pubs that have to over Christmas have to like basically cap 2 pints per customer or whatever. Me being the negative person that I am, I wonder if it's a marketing scarcity thing.
I hope not. You can't play with people like that.
Not over Christmas. There's actually some real stories from pubs that have said, they get 20 barrel orders a week and they're down to 1 or 2. So that sort of negates what I'm saying. But I immediately was like, well played, because I just saw it as a scarcity marketing ploy.
That's a bold move. But why would you do that if you've got that much demand? Surely, if that's what's driving it, a scarcity play would be to increase volume.
Well, yeah, and they say that they're at they're brewing at capacity, 100% capacity, which I was there 3 weeks ago. My God, that capacity is ridiculous. But they've seen an absolute. I was speaking to Laura, head of PR, about it this morning, and she said apparently splitting the G, which has been around for donkeys, has now gone viral on TikTok. And she was saying she was in a pub over the weekend, and her and her partner just had a look around the pub, and they were both reflecting and said it's like a younger audience that have all got Guinnesses in front of them. So social. I'd
love to see some data on that.
I'm still a bit like, of Diageo, of Guinness as a brand, played that really well. But you're right, like, and also there are some in the media real stories of landlords saying, we normally get, like I said, 20, 50, whatever barrels. We absolutely sell out, and we've been told that our distributors capping us to like 1 to 2 barrels this week. But if it's all true, what timing? Christmas.
That's like when KFC ran out of chicken.
Yeah. But again, I don't know. I see campaigns straight through that. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what would be interesting if they do run out and demand does go? What they do with the marketing at that point, like KFC did a great job.
Yeah, I almost get like, I would almost, as the brand, obviously in PR or whatever, not that they need any more PR that magnitude, but like I almost get excited as though I was able to turn it into a campaign.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity.
Because look at KFC as like, again, the blueprint, but I'm still not convinced that it's something but clever, sneaky marketing.
If anyone at Diageo wants to get in touch, about us working with Guinness, Stan would be absolutely overjoyed with that. So,
Or just wants a pint.
or that.
Merry Christmas. Oh, they saw that.
Oh, okay.
It's got to be Aldi or Lidl, hasn't it?
Aldi.
Why do you think Aldi? Or are you just thinking for in shopping mindset there? Or have you answered that? Have you considered that?
I've answered that from a shopping and respect for marketing mindset.
Yeah, I mean,
combination of both.
Mine's definitely Aldi. Guinness or Boddingtons.
Guinness is probably my number one. And it has been for years and years and years, to be fair.
You need a jumper like this.
Yes, I do, yeah.
I think that's all I've got.
Paul's going to be chuffed.
Yeah.